Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got some really fascinating material today. It came in from you, one of our listeners,
hmm
and it really digs into what it might mean to be, well, clear-eyed and present in this world that's getting so saturated with AI.
That's right. And the source we're looking at, it's an article section called Awakening in the Age of AI.
Right.
It explores this idea of awakening, but not in some vague spiritual way. It's
Hmm.
very practical. It looks at the challenges, the real meaning of holding on to that state while AI is just changing everything, society, work, our lives.
So our mission here with this deep dive is to really unpack what this piece is saying. What does the source mean by awakening here in this specific context?
Yeah, what are the hurdles it points out?
Exactly. And, why does it even matter right now, according to this text? We want to pull out those key insights, the ones that stand out, so you can look at these ideas yourself.
Okay, so what's the starting point in the article? It basically suggests that as AI ramps up its influence, everywhere, how we connect, how we work, even how we think this awakening thing isn't just nice to have.
It's becoming more necessary.
Important, yeah, even urgent, the text says.
And it's pretty clear about what it isn't, right? It's not portrayed as just, like, feeling good or escaping reality.
No, not at all.
So what are the qualities it talks about? What makes up this awakening?
Well, the text highlights a few key things. It calls it clear cognition, like thinking clearly,
Okay.
and inner turning, so shifting your focus inward, the ability to sort of maintain yourself, your core self, even when everything outside is shifting.
Like staying grounded.
Exactly. And gaining insight into essence, seeing past the surface level,
Mhm.
and crucially, making autonomous choices based on that clarity, not just reacting.
Right. Okay. So it's definitely not just about piling up more information, which, I mean, AI is generating constantly.
Precisely. The article draws a really sharp line there. It explicitly says it's not about how much data you consume.
The real skill, it emphasizes, is being able to discern, to figure out what's true from what isn't, and maybe just as important, what's actually meaningful to you,
Mhm.
amidst all that noise.
That process of filtering and valuing, that's key.
That's what it presents as core to this state, yeah.
So, okay, it defines it, but then it dives straight into the difficulties, doesn't it? It doesn't paint it as easy.
Not at all.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because these challenges feel, well, they feel very current, very real.
Absolutely.
Mm.
It lays out four big ones. The first one is probably the most obvious, right? Just the sheer information overload and confusion.
Oh, yeah. You think about deep fakes, AI writing, videos.
It's getting harder and harder to know what's
The
real.
algorithms are feeding us stuff constantly. It blurs the lines. Real, fake, manipulated. Who knows?
And the article uses this term, information cocoons, which is quite evocative, isn't it?
It is. They feel super personalized, tailored just for you by these algorithms. But the text argues they're also highly manipulated, maybe not for your benefit or clarity, but for, engagement or other goals.
Yeah, that really hits home. So the challenge isn't trying to, know everything. That's impossible.
Right.
It's more about building that internal filter, having the discipline to actually pause and ask, okay, wait, is this true? And even if it might be, is it actually meaningful for me?
It's an active stance, yeah, not just passively soaking it all in.
Okay, so that's the external flood. What's next?
The second challenge the article brings up is internal or maybe social. It's the pressure of group consciousness.
Ah, right, that feeling.
Yeah.
It's just easier to go along with the crowd, isn't it? Follow the trends, the norms.
Most people do, the article suggests, because, yeah, it feels safer, less friction.
But the awakened individual, as the text describes them,
Hmm?
they start to question that.
They do. They start looking sideways at conventional ideas about work or, the endless cycle of consumption, how we present ourselves online, even what success is supposed to mean.
And what happens when you push against that current? The article suggests it's not always easy.
No, it often leads to feeling, well, lonely or misunderstood, maybe even pushed to the edges of groups you were part of, marginalized.
That makes sense if you're seeing things differently.
And there's a really powerful line the article quotes here. It says, "True awakening is the moment you are willing to be alone."
Wow.
It frames that potential isolation not just as a possible downside, but as fundamentally linked to seeing and choosing differently.
Yeah, that's quite profound. Okay, what's the third hurdle?
The third one goes even deeper inside. It's about dismantling and rebuilding self-cognition. your understanding of yourself.
Which connects back to AI a bit too, right? Algorithms slot us into user profiles.
Exactly. And society uses all these labels, your age, your job, your income bracket.
We box ourselves in.
We do. And the article argues that awakening means stepping back from all that, from the external labels, the simplified profiles, and asking that really fundamental question, who am I really beyond all that stuff?
And that's not a quick fix, according to the text.
Far from it. It's not described as like a sudden light bulb moment. It's continuous, nonlinear. You're constantly breaking down old ideas about yourself and trying to build a new understanding.
Which takes real courage
It's
and time.
definitely, it's a process. And then the fourth challenge. This is often the one that feels the most frustrating, the article suggests. It's the boundaries of action and influence.
Ah, okay, so you see things clearly, you understand the issues, but you feel like you can't actually do anything about it.
Precisely. You still have to live and work within the existing systems, right? Your job, institutions, society. And you see things you feel are unjust or hypocritical or just relentlessly focused on efficiency over, say, humanity.
You have the insight, but your voice doesn't seem to carry, or you can't make change happen.
Exactly. It feels incredibly difficult. The article calls this stage potentially the most frustrating one. You're awake, but feel kind of stuck.
Yeah, hands tied.
But it also frames this frustration as a possible turning point, a critical moment.
How so?
The shift, it suggests, is moving beyond just resisting reality, like pushing against how things are and starting to actively create new space, even small spaces, for alternatives.
So moving from fighting against it to building something different alongside it.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Shifting energy from opposition to creation.
Right.
Which leads into the next part. Despite all these challenges, the article isn't just doom and gloom. It actually presents a really powerful view on the meaning of this awakening in the AI age.
Okay, so what's the upside? What's the purpose?
Well, it frames the AI era not just as disruptive, but maybe as a great reboot for civilization.
A reboot. Interesting.
And in that context, awakened individuals are seen as the ones who can rebuild value, find meaning again from the ruins, as it puts it, of old systems or ways of thinking that maybe aren't working anymore.
Okay, rebuild value. How? How does an awakened individual become a source of value in this tech-driven landscape?
The idea is, as the external world driven by AI gets faster, more efficient, more automated, the awakened person naturally brings value to the things often left behind.
Like what?
Things like slowness, taking time, genuine feeling, deep relationships, finding inherent meaning in things beyond their utility.
So becoming a kind of necessary counterbalance to the algorithmic world.
Exactly. And the article suggests this involves a shift, moving from just being a passive consumer in the market to being an active creator, someone who consciously chooses their content, their relationships, their lifestyle, not just accepting what's pushed at them.
Making deliberate choices.
Okay.
What else? What other meaning does it find?
The second point it makes is about how you can influence others, but importantly, without needing their validation or approval.
Ah, so it's not just a purely solo journey then. It has outward ripples?
According to the article, yes. The journey might start inside, but it's not meant to end there, just for one person. It could be the start of something broader, maybe a collective shift. The text describes these individuals not as like aloof or self-absorbed, but as radiating a kind of stable, sincere, and warm light.
And that light affects people.
The suggestion is yes, subtly. It can make others pause, maybe start asking themselves those deeper questions too. Wait, does life really have to be lived this way? It's influencing by being, not by preaching.
Interesting. And there was a third meaning.
Yes. Stepping out of what it calls the tool person cycle and onto the existence journey.
Tool person cycle. What's that about?
It's about shifting away from constantly asking what's the use, focusing only on utility, on function. The article uses a specific term, yum, for that mindset.
Right. The practical usefulness of everything.
Exactly, and moving instead towards focusing less on what you do and more on who I am and why I live, these deeper existential questions.
And this existence journey, the article describes it as very personal.
Very. No standard maps, no guaranteed answers. But the text concludes, in an age where external systems try to dictate so much, this inner journey is maybe the only one that's truly worth taking.
Okay, that's a lot to think about. The challenges are pretty stark, but the potential meaning is profound too. As we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the source material, what's the final message? What does the article seem to want to say directly to you, the listener, if you're feeling some of this?
Well, it definitely acknowledges that you might be feeling confused, maybe lonely, maybe even a bit powerless, like we talked about.
Right. It's easy to doubt yourself, isn't it? To wonder if seeing things differently, going against the current, is actually worth all the trouble.
But the source offers a really encouraging perspective, I think. It says basically, in an era where everything pushes towards sameness, towards homogenization, staying clear headed, holding on to that inner discernment, that's actually a rare strength, a potent one.
So it's not that you're wrong or broken or behind the times,
No, the article suggests maybe you're just waking up a little earlier than some others.
and that this isn't just about you personally. There's that idea that you might be like a seed for the next era's order.
Yeah, implying that this individual clarity, this courage, even with the challenges, it's somehow foundational for whatever comes next for us collectively.
That's a hopeful thought.
It is. And the article closes with these wishes for you. May you find some peace in all the noise. May you see some direction in the chaos. And may you hold on to your ideals even when you're tired.
So summing up this exploration of the source, we looked at how it defines awakening for the AI age, that clear thinking, autonomous choice. We went through the big hurdles it points out: information overload, group pressure, redefining yourself, feeling powerless to act.
Right. And then the meaning it finds in all this becoming a source of deeper value, influencing others just by your presence, and really embarking on that existence journey beyond just pure utility.
And the article leaves us with that really powerful final thought, doesn't it? That core distinction.
Yeah. AI can change the world, how it operates systems, society, daily life, fundamentally. But ultimately, the article states, only you can decide if your soul is awake.
That really is something to sit with, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? This deep dive, looking at this source material, hopefully it gives you a framework, some ideas from this article to ponder that question for yourself.